morning sun crept gently through the dusty window of the city bus as Adaeze rested her head against the glass, her tired eyes following the world outside. The traffic was thick, the air heavy with the sound of impatient horns and the call of hawkers weaving through cars, selling everything from snacks to newspapers. She clutched her worn-out handbag, brown leather frayed at the edges, and sighed. Inside it lay her last 2,000 naira, a small notepad, and her mother's prayer beads. It was the first day of her new job at Zenith Prime Estates, and her heart was a cocktail of excitement, fear, and determination. God, please, let this be the beginning, she whispered under her breath, rubbing the beads between her fingers. At 28, Adaeze had known her share of disappointment. After university, she had spent 4 years chasing opportunities that never came. Each rejection letter chipped away a little at her confidence. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. Keep your faith, my daughter. The right door will open when it's time. When she finally received the offer letter from Zenith Prime, she wept in gratitude. It was a miracle. An entry-level position at a top real estate firm on Victoria Island. Her mother had danced around the small kitchen, praying aloud, "This is it, my daughter's breakthrough." And now, as the bus rolled into the island-polished streets, Adaeze saw a different Lagos. Glass towers, luxury cars, people in suits who walked like they owned the world. For a moment, she felt small, but she squared her shoulders. You deserve to be here, she told herself. You've worked for this. The reception area of Zenith Prime Estate looked like a movie set. Marble floors that reflected the light, soft jazz music in the background, and women who looked as if they'd stepped out of fashion magazines. Adaeze approached the front desk nervously. The receptionist looked up, tall, elegant, her nails perfectly manicured. You must be the new hire, the woman asked, smiling faintly. Yes, ma, Adaeze replied politely. Welcome to Zenith, the receptionist said, her tone professional but assessing. Her eyes lingered on Adaze's simple skirt and modest blouse before adding softly, You'll get used to the pace here and the standard. Those words echoed in Adaze's head the entire day. The standard. Her new colleagues were friendly but distant. They discussed vacations in Dubai, spa appointments and brunches in Ikoyi. Their laughter was crisp, their confidence effortless. When they complimented her work, it always came with a curious glance at her bag or shoes. During lunch, she would have had one of them whisper, she seems nice, but she'll have to step up her style if she wants to keep up. That night, Adaeze stood before her mirror in her small flat, staring at her reflection. The woman looking back at her seemed insufficient. I can do better, she thought. Within weeks, Adaze's hunger to belong became quite obsession. She started with little things, a new pair of heels, bought on credit, a wig she couldn't afford but convinced herself she needed. She opened a small loan app just to keep up for now. Her Instagram page, once quiet, came alive. Filtered photos at cafes, captions about success, smiles that hid her growing depths. Her posts attracted attention. Colleagues started inviting her out. Clients noticed her. Confidence replaced insecurity, and admiration became her new addiction. When she closed her first big deal, the office erupted in applause. Her boss called her a rising star. That night, she treated herself to a fancy dinner, whispering, "See, you're finally becoming someone." But becoming someone in a world of appearance comes with a cost. One Friday evening, during a company dinner, she met Chuka. He was the kind of man who carried presence, tall, confident, dressed in quiet wealth. He owned several properties and spoke with the ease of someone used to being obeyed. When their eyes met, he smiled. "Miss Adaeze, right? I've heard good things about your work," he said. Her heart skipped. "Thank you, sir. I just try my best." "You do more than that," he said smoothly. "Join me for dinner tomorrow. There's something I'd like to discuss, business-wise." That dinner changed everything. Chuka was charming, worldly, and generous. He introduced her to places she'd only seen online. Rooftop lounges, private dinners, circle of people who spoke about billions, as casual as pocket change. He showered her with attention, gifts, and promises. At first, Adaeze hesitated, but the validation felt intoxicating. "Don't be too modest," he tells her. "You deserve the best. You work hard. Enjoy it." So she did. Luxury dresses replaced her thrift stock outfit. Perfume became a daily ritual. Even her mother noticed the change when she visited home. "Adaeze," her mother said quietly one evening, "these things are fine, but don't lose yourself in them. Remember who you are." "Mama, please." Adaeze laughed it off. "It's just a new phase. I am doing well." Her mother sighed, but said nothing. Mothers often sense storm before they come. A few months later, Zenith Prime Estate announced a new mega project worth billions. It was all anyone in the company could talk about, a deal that could make or break careers. Adaeze saw her chance. "This could change everything," she told Chuka. "It's the future of Lagos real estate." He leaned back in his chair, watching her with admiration. "You're quite the visionary, Adaeze. Send me the proposal. I trust you." Her hands trembled as she sent him the details. In her mind, she saw promotions, awards, interviews. Finally, she'd be the woman everyone envied. But within weeks, everything fell apart. The government froze the project after a corruption scandal, money laundering, fake contracts, illegal transfers, and Chuka's investment, the one he made through recommendation, was gone. The news hit her like a blow to the chest. Chuka's calls turned cold. "What did you get me into?" He backed over the phone. "I swear I didn't know. Don't lie to me, Adaeze. You wanted to play in the big league. Now, face it." When she went to the office the next morning, her access card didn't work. Her manager called her in. "I'm sorry," he said without emotions. "You were part of the correspondence. The board has decided to suspend you pending investigation." "Sir, please, I had no idea." "It's out of my hands. You can clear your desk." And just like that, it was over. Adaeze packed her things in silence. As she walked out, the same colleagues who once praised her avoided eye contact. Her phone buzzed with messages, some sympathetic, others mocking. On social media, blogs were already twisting the story. Beautiful real estate agent scams investor. Her mother's call came late that night. "My daughter, what happened?" Adaeze broke down. "Mama, I didn't do anything wrong. I was only trying to be someone." Her mother's voice trembled. "You already were someone, Adaeze. You just forgot." Week turned into months. Adaeze couldn't pay her rent and moved into a shared room in Surulere. Designer clothes she once flaunted hung unused, their glitter mocking her emptiness. She stopped going online. She stopped answering calls. Her world shrank to the size of her guilt. One afternoon, unable to stand the silence, she wandered to a nearby park. The sunset painted the sky gold, and somewhere nearby, a soft melody floated through the air. She followed the sound and found a blind man playing a saxophone. He sat on a low stool, eyes closed, lost in his music. A few people dropped coins into his bowl. When he paused to rest, Adaeze approached quietly. "You play beautifully," she said. The man smiled, turning his head towards her voice. "Thank you, my sister. Music is my sight now." She sat beside him. "How do you stay so calm?" He chuckled. "Because I no longer try to be what I am not. When the eyes of the body fell, the eyes of the soul opened." That night, his words echoed in her mind, the eyes of the soul. She returned the next day, and the next. His name was Baba Seyi. He had been a teacher once, until glaucoma took his sight. Yet he refused to beg. He played music every evening to feed his family. One day she asked softly, "Don't you ever feel angry at life?" He smiled. "Anger doesn't feed the heart. Gratitude does. When you stop chasing shadows, you will find your peace." Those words broke something in her and healed something else. Over the following weeks, Adaeze began to rebuild her life piece by piece. She sold her luxury items online, paid off her debts, and used what little she had left to start a small digital marketing business from her room. At first, it was slow. Clients were few, but she worked with sincerity and discipline. For the first time in years, she slept peacefully. Not because she was rich, but because she was honest again. Months later, one of her clients, a charity organization, invited her to manage an online campaign for blind musicians. When she arrived at the event, she froze. There on stage was Baba Seyi, playing his saxophone, the same gentle melody that had saved her heart. When he heard her voice in the crowd, he smiled. "I told you, Adaeze, when your soul learns to see, your life begins again." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She clapped. Her heart lit for the first time in years. The campaign became a success and Adaze's work caught attention. She began getting calls, clients, and opportunities again, this time built on truth. Years later, when she stood in her own office as the founder of True Sight Media, she looked out over the city skyline, the same city that once made her feel small. A framed photo sat on her desk, her mother smiling beside her, and a small saxophone pendant gifted by Baba Seyi. Her assistant knocked gently. "Ma, the client is waiting." Adaeze smiled. "Give me a minute." She looked at her reflection in the window, no longer hiding behind makeups or luxury, just herself, radiant in peace. She whispered softly, "You finally became someone, the person you were meant to be." Moral of the story: the world may applaud appearances, but only truth builds lasting peace. Never lose your authenticity, chasing admiration, because the most beautiful things in life are never seen, only felt. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Story Parlor. See you next time. Bye.